He's Blake. I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken podcast. And today we're back to talk the John Carpenter classic 1978's Halloween.
Yeah, without a doubt, everyone's favorite horror movie, if not in their top five. I mean, Ronnie, you got your classic masked silent killer chasing a bimbo all around town until he eventually kills all of her friends, and how's it going to end? It's just the formula for horror movies in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those movies that I don't think it gets enough recognition on this platform, Blake. So we wanted to start the new year with our take that hopefully is a fresh take on Halloween. And just the for the longest time it was the highest box office for an independent horror movie, and it's just so simple in the way that it's done. A guy breaks out of a mental institution, he stalks these babysitters all day long, and then he goes crazy on them at night. And a fun fact, Blake, this movie was originally called the Babysitter Murders, before that the last second they changed the name of it to Halloween. So you think this movie, like 47 years later, would still have the popularity and the notoriety if they had never changed the movie from the Babysitter Murders?
Wow, that's a really good question, Ronnie. And I think that may be like a video idea for later down the road. But probably it could have worked if they left everything else the same. Well, I mean, if you do that, Ronnie, you're not tied down or handcuffed to that whole Halloween concept. So, I mean, Michael Myers could be out on any day of the year, any month, and it doesn't have to be a family issue. He could just be after anybody babysitting.
Yeah, he could just break out and go after babysitters. It wouldn't have to be tied to he's got to break out on Halloween. That's a great point, Blake. But a lot of the people, they love Donald Pleasance in this movie, Blake. They talk about his performance and how great he is. And, he gets to chew up the scenes with the dialogue. He gets to be Jack Nicholson in a sense, where he gets to tell the stories that creates the boogeyman, aura of Michael Myers. He tells Sheriff Brackett, who, by the way, is the father of Annie, which is one of the, Laurie's best friends in the movie. But he tells Brackett the story of how he's been around this this guy for 15 years, and he's seen him grow into evil. And he's seen him stare at a wall, not seeing the wall, but just imagining what he's going to do whenever he gets out. And, immediately, Brackett is wanting to alert everybody. And I guess we should have brought it up that this movie starts off with a first person kill of a girl, and then we follow the killer out the front door, and they take the mask off of what is a 6-year-old child, and then 15 years later he breaks out. So that's what we know about the killer, and Donald Pleasance lets us know about all of the stuff.
Hey, Ronnie, are we supposed to think that when Michael sees Laurie for the first time at the Myers house in 78, are we supposed to think that he sees his sister, or if he thinks that there's any kind of, you get what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I think in Rob Zombie's movie, when they do that, he smells the envelope, and the smell reminds him of baby Judith.
Yeah.
That's the reason he does it. I think in this situation, because we hadn't talked about it, Jamie Lee Curtis's dad owns a realty company, and he asked her to drop off the keys because they're trying to sell the Myers house. So she drops off the keys, and she is really the first person that Michael comes into contact with, and he stalks her the rest of the day. She sees him outside of her classroom. She sees him driving past when she's walking home with her friends. She sees him standing by bushes. She sees him looking up into her bedroom window. And then us as the audience, we see him following the girls as they go to their babysitting jobs. But it's just real creepy how this happens all day. So I think it's just like what they talked about in her classroom. I think it's a fate situation
Yeah.
that she was the one to run into him. It's her fate to have to deal with this horrific things that are going to happen over the rest of the movie.
Well, I'll give you another hot take, Ronnie, that Loomis, other than being right about how evil Michael is, Loomis kind of fumbles. I mean, every decision he makes in this movie is a poor decision. And I mean, I know we're not talking about the rest of the franchise, but why he's such a beloved character, I'm not really sure. I mean, there's an argument to be made that he's responsible for most of the deaths in this franchise. I just think some of the decision making by Dr. Loomis was very poor.
Yeah, like immediately, Lee Brackett, being the good sheriff that he is, says, "Okay, so if this guy's as dangerous as you say he is, I need to contact the television. I need to contact the radio. I need to contact the newspapers. We got to get the information out to the people." And Loomis is like, "No, you can't do that. They'll see him on every street corner, behind every bush. You'll create chaos and panic." So that was a dumb decision, Blake. And then he spends the rest of the movie just hanging out at the Myers house while Michael wreaks havoc on Haddonfield.
Yeah, lots of poor decisions by Loomis. Hey, Ron, one thing I want to talk about as far as what makes this movie great is the score. Because you talked about the suspense of Michael following these girls all throughout the movie. You're not sure what he's going to do. I think the score, which is done by John Carpenter, I think the score does a good job of that same tension building too, because we get kind of a light, scary music throughout the day, but at nighttime when he really starts, his massacre, the score picks up with the classic Halloween theme and just really hammers this movie home.
Yeah, I think the score is one of the main characters of the movie, Blake, because
Oh
the
wow.
score, the Halloween theme is iconic. The shape stalks is another one that adds tons of horror to this movie. This is still the score of this movie. If I watch this movie with the lights out, excuse me, if I watch this movie with the lights out, uh, I'm still creeped out, and it's mostly because of the music. I mean, it doesn't get any better than what John Carpenter did here. What did
Yeah, it's like imagining another horror movie without its famous music. I mean, you can't do it, right? Like, what's an example of another horror movie, Ronnie?
Jaws?
Yeah, I mean, imagine the shark coming after Brody with no music playing. I mean, you're right; it is a main character.
What did you think about? I mean, this movie doesn't have a lot of blood in it, but it manages to have some great kills, Blake. I mean, at the very beginning of the Judith kill is very graphic.
Mhm.
Then the mechanic. How do you think the mechanic died?
A heart attack.
And then you've got him, slitting Annie's throat and
Yeah.
then stabbing Bob into a wall. And then he strangles Linda. And then he sets his sights on Lori. And she gives him all she's got. She stabs him in the neck with a knitting needle, in the chest with a knife. And then, he does the sit up. And then there's Loomis to shoot him 6 times as he falls over the rail. And then she asks about the boogeyman or something. What did she say?
I think she said, "Hey, is that the boogeyman?"
Okay, and then he says, "A matter of fact, it was." And he goes and looks over the rail, and Michael's gone, and the music starts playing, and it's like one of those biggest what if endings ever. And it's just it goes to credits, and it's just it's one of the reasons it makes it so great, Blake.
It gives you an uneasy feeling, Ronnie. The end of the movie. It sends you, if you were at the theater, it sends you home with a very uneasy feeling. If you're at home and you turn the television off, you really don't know how to feel because you don't get that happy ending that you're used to getting. And he's still out there, and you don't know where he's at. Like I think they do a really cool job of showing some scenes in the movie at the end, Ronnie, of where he was at one point. Like they show the stairway, they show the living room, and all you can hear in the background is him breathing, letting you know, hey, he's still alive and he's still out there. So I thought that was really well done.
Well, that's John Carpenter's 1978 Halloween, Blake, one of the greatest horror movies ever. And I'm glad we got to talk about it. And make sure you guys like and subscribe.
Yeah. Comment down below your favorite scenes in the movie.
And we'll see you guys next time.